draft town plan. Councillor Edwards, you're proposing this? And who is seconding it? Councillor Danvers, do you wish to reserve the right?
Yes, I reserve.
My reason for moving this motion is that, frankly, in terms of the draft Harlow Town Plan, as far as I can see, there is just sort of one, possibly two mentions about retrofitting buildings to ensure that they play their part, and there is nothing at all, as far as I can see, other than Harlow intends to be an exemplary in tackling climate change and commits to achieving net zero carbon emissions on paragraph 6.1, and the report on addressing climate change and modal shift. But as far as I can see, there's nothing else in there really about the existing housing stock. And our existing housing stock by 2047, a significant proportion of it will be between 70 and 100 years old. At the time of their build, standards with regards to energy efficiency and insulation were markedly different from those required today. So what this resolution is calling for is a substantial statement in the draft plan to reflect the ambition for all currently existing houses within the town to be insulated and, if necessary, retrofitted to modern energy efficient standards by 2047. And it calls upon the council to quantify the number of houses that will need to be built up to energy efficient standards, embark on a plan for its own housing stock, and take a strong strategic lead in working with others. I note that actually the council has already done some of this work on this previously, in the sense of way back in 2015 or thereabouts, the council, in conjunction with Savills and with, I believe, with Rickaby Thorne Thompson Associates, at that time commissioned a review of the council's housing stock. And the council have approximately 9,800 houses, homes rather, including 393 flats. Now what it said was, to bring them up to modern standards at the time, it said that to bring up to SAP 80 standard, 8,918 dwellings of the 9,800 homes that the council owned would have to be improved. And it also put a figure in there at that time. To do that, it was saying that it was going to cost in the order of about £110 million in that report. Now, the government recently, I think in the last week or so, put out a notion of that houses could be heated via heat pumps, that sort of thing, and the suggestion that heat pumps would be a good idea. Now, heat pumps will only work efficiently if the houses are insulated properly. If they don't, it just won't, it certainly won't work efficiently, and now will they keep the houses particularly warm. So I suppose what I'm saying is, what I am saying is, that really we need to be doing, if we're serious about climate change, addressing the issues around climate change, but one of the things, as well as, a lot of the concentration on here is on the new build stuff and what have you, but actually we as a council need to be doing something about the existing housing stock. We need to do something about our own stock, and we've already started that with some of the decent homes, bringing them up to new windows, etc. And some of the homes I know have had external insulation put on the outside, etc. But we still have a significant number of houses that require further work to be done. So it's about calling on that work to at least to start to address that. It's also about calling on the council to recognise not only has it got a responsibility as far as its own houses are concerned, but it's also got a leadership role. And it's got a leadership role in terms of working with others. Because roughly a third of the houses are council owned. 2/3 of the houses, 1/3 are in owner occupation, another third are private to rent, etc., in various ownership. So whilst it's not necessarily the council's responsibility to do that work, it is arguably the council's responsibility, and I will wind up, it is arguably the council's responsibility to start to give some strategic lead on that work, in fact, to work with AWS to do that strategically. Thank you.
Thank you both. And a second. Yes.
Yeah. Chair, my part in seconding this is basically to seek reassurance from the new administration, because it'd be interesting to see how they actually vote on this resolution tonight. Because at the very beginning, the incoming administration, the very worrying comments by the housing portfolio holder at the very first meeting of the Harlow Town Plan set kind of concerns running. The previous administration has done extensive work on this score. We've insulated many council houses, and in particular have given attention to sheltered accommodation. We would have liked to have done a lot more, but from 2015 we were certainly handicapped with the austerity programme and the way the then Chancellor Osborne interfered with local government housing finance, which ripped the rug away from our feet when it came to actually properly planning for proper housing maintenance. So basically we're feeling on this side that we need this resolution so that we can confirm the ongoing intention to make sure that at least public housing in this town is, as Tony said, is brought up to the modern standards that people would expect. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Carter.
Thank you, Chairman. We welcome this motion tonight as it gives us an opportunity to review the actions taken by the previous administration following the approval of the climate emergency commitment. There, that didn't take long. Apart from planting a lot of trees, most of which have died, part of it is nothing to try and address the urgent need for action. So it's a bit hypocritical to turn around now and start telling us what we should be doing. We hit the ground running in our first council meeting, setting a 2040 net zero target, 10 years ahead of the government's target. We are making swift progress on EV charging points, after 2 years of inactivity by the party opposite. At Cabinet next week, there are plans for our tree planting and biodiversity management, proposed by my colleague Councillor Gowan. So, Mr. Chairman, we will not be supporting the motion tonight for a number of reasons. As Councillor Swords tried to explain to Councillor Durkin at a recent Cabinet meeting on the town plan, I think about 8 times he had to say, the town plan is not a prescriptive, detailed implementation plan. It is a visionary concept document, setting out what could be done to make the town better. The plan was approved for consultation at that meeting, and the party opposite are free to respond in any way they choose, and we await their contribution with interest. We are bringing forward other plans and strategies which will address the implementation of carbon reduction and maintain our properties along with other issues. We have the 30-year housing business plan coming to full council in January, setting out our priorities and budget for that period. As well as plan maintenance, we will be looking to reduce the carbon impact of our residential properties and to make them more thermally efficient. In the quarterly performance review of the council programme that went to the last council meeting, Councillor Edwards and in particular Councillor Danvers will have noticed the current budget for energy efficiency works of over £2 million. So clearly we are taking energy efficiency and fuel poverty seriously. I do recall back in 2015 the forward stock condition survey that the council did with Savills, and also the thermal efficiency survey that came out of that was external funding for the external cladding of some properties. Part of the 2 million in this year's energy efficiency budget is focused on 183 properties which are currently in Band E EPC ratings and requiring insulation and energy efficiency works. We are undertaking pilot exercises in 2 different archetypes to address these issues, and they will also benefit those in fuel policy. So yes, we are looking at improving the properties. In addition, the key plank of the 2040 net zero target is for council to move away from gas boilers in our operational buildings, with no new ones to be installed until 2025. As Councillor Downes has alluded to, discussions are already underway between Housing and HDS over options for gas boiler replacement. However, methods such as eco-gas, hydrogen or electric boilers are still in early stages of development. At the moment, there are limitations as to the effectiveness of air and source heat pumps and the storage of the energy that they create. So there is still some way to go, but it will be in the housing business plan for the future. Needless to say, we will be looking to the government for financial assistance for this work. And then in January, there will be the recommendation from the Cabinet Policy Development Working Group of a refreshed housing strategy, which will cover, amongst other priorities, the needs of the private housing sector as well. So, Mr. Chairman, this administration is taking the climate emergency seriously. It is taking dealing with our housing stock seriously. We have the plans and strategies to tackle it and protect our homes and residents. Unlike the party opposite, who are now floundering around trying to play catch up.
Thank you, Chair. I wasn't going to enter the debate, but when I heard my name, I thought it was a good opportunity. It is absolutely disappointing that we can't even agree on something as plain and simple about what matters to our environment, to our community, and to our local housing. We end up playing the silly game of party politics when we really know what the real issues are out there, and collectively we could come together under this motion and try to make that difference. But oh no, the party opposite will never ever agree with anything that is sensible or rational because it's come from the Labour department. Let you try to pretend everything is okay, and it's not. The only thing that we produce in this council is hot air, and we do precious little else. But now, this year, in next week, there is an golden opportunity that we, as political champions, community champions, could come together and start making that difference. So it's a missed opportunity. And all I would say to comment in relation to the visionary document, as it is absolutely called, it is made, designed and celebrated by 3 blind mice. Thank you.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Thank you, Chair. Like Councillor Durkin, I am disappointed that the group administration opposite are not going to support this motion, but not unexpected by it. They completely miss the point of this motion. This motion is about aspiration. We talk about the local plan and we debate the local plan through thick and thin, and we debated what should be included in a local plan. This motion is about existing stock. We should have aspiration. You as an administration should have aspiration, not just about a local plan. You should have aspiration about existing stock. The comments made by Councillor Carter calling the motion hypocritical, I find totally incorrect. And can I just remind you of a few points? We made an excellent start to tackling fuel poverty, even though we had diminished funding coming in and HRA was in critical condition. We still invested time after time in trying to tackle fuel poverty. We made an excellent start in investing in our supported housing and all the people within that. I remember on a personal basis, when I was in the role of Cabinet Member for Housing, we did regular reports to Cabinet about our investments, about gas boiler replacements, and I remember regularly, Councillor Charles used to ask me the same question every single Cabinet. Can I please give him the assurance that we wouldn't do this work during the winter? And it used to be a hardy kind of debate I'd have, and I'd give him the same assurance every single time. But it's still coming back with the same question. We were tackling boiler investment, we were tackling fuel poverty. This motion is about aspirations for our current stock. And I'm not surprised that, again, like Tony Durkin, I'm completely disappointed that you've missed the point of this motion. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Swords.
I wasn't planning to speak either, but when Councillor Durkin gets to speak, I can't resist. I'll keep it short, but I would invite any member opposite, when they stand to conclude on the motion, if they could set out the cost of these plans and where that money is set to come from. Not the cost of 2015 that the consultant gave you, but the cost of the plans that you'd like us to adopt tonight. And the other point, well, there's two further points I wish to make. Councillor Carter spoke first about all the things we're doing to tackle this problem. He also started with, you may have missed it because obviously he didn't say anything, what the previous administration did between 2019, July 2019, when they passed the climate change emergency motion, and when they were booted out in May. So again, when anyone opposite stands to conclude the motion, I'll be delighted to hear what action they took to retrofit homes in that time.
Yeah, I'll be brief but still. There was something going on between 2019 and 2021 that was quite a huge thing in our town and across the country. In terms of the trees, which I was upset when Councillor Charles told me last time a lot of trees had died. The reality is that actually when you plant a large amount of trees, the reason you plant them so close together is actually the success rate for planting new trees is only actually 30%, whatever you do. That wasn't particularly helpful in one area of the town when an employee of the council may have killed someone, so I'll leave you guys look into that one. In terms of what we did in terms of the climate change, as you will know, in the past 5 years, Harlow Council reduced carbon emissions by 39%. I said to Councillor Gunn at the previous council meeting, I completely support your push to become carbon neutral as soon as possible. Although I do bear in mind your plans only actually plan for 11% reduction in carbon emissions in the next 5 years to get to the 50%. We had a discussion about why it was 11 and why it was 15. It's 15% where we are now, but it's 11% since 2016. That's all I'm going to say, Chair. Thank you.
Councillor Edward, would you like to start, please? No, looks like it.
I think it's a great shame, firstly, that this can't be part of. It's not going to be passed tonight. In fact, you're going to vote against it. I think it's a great shame, because basically what it was setting out was some aspirations. And it's asking for those aspirations to be included in this draft town plan, which is out for consultation. So part of the consultation was to be saying, there is this, making a suggestion that we ought to have something in here about our existing housing stock, about bringing our existing housing stock up to a modern standard. But you rejected that. I was also slightly amused by Councillor Carter when he was lecturing us on the fact that he was saying, oh no, this is just there's nothing specific in here. When the same way when Councillor Swords was saying, oh, there's nothing. He was saying that Councillor Swords was saying how they're saying that there's nothing specific in here. It's purely an aspirational document. Councillor Swords at the time wasn't talking about this. He was talking about the master plan. The debate that we're having with the master plan. This is about the town plan that Councillor Harlow introduced. But anyway, that's an aside. We don't know what plan you're talking about. I'm surprised that the administration's going to go anywhere, frankly. However, moving forward, if you're not going to, Councillor Sewell raised the question about how much is it going to cost. That was an estimation was given of £115 million way back in 2015, 2016. Of course, there's a whole lot of work that's got to go on as to what this is going to cost. If you don't start out by saying this is what your intention is, how can you then go on to look at, to be saying, this is what, this is what, you've got a whole lot of intentions in here that run costly. What you have to be saying, no, is this is our aspiration, this is what we're going to seek to achieve, in the hopes that you can do that. What we do know is, it is going to cost a lot of money. And we wouldn't be starting out now to be saying, well, okay, if we're going to bring houses up to modern standards, how do we do it? How do we work with whoever it is, whether it's with central government, whether it's with the other sectors that I was talking about earlier? How do we go about doing that? How do we go about ensuring that we can bring houses up to a modern standard and ensure that they've got the right levels of insulation and ensure that they've got the right levels of heating, whether it is heat pumps, whether it is hydrogen, hydrogen heating in various sources. And I appreciate that the technology and all that is changing all of the time. I watched looking at your Harlow the other day where they referred us on to a YouTube which is put forward by Bosch, if I remember rightly, Worcester Bosch, on hydrogen boilers and the interesting work that's going on there. So there's a whole lot of work that's, but we as a council have to be starting to look at that and have to be starting now to start to address those issues and making an aspiration that that's what we're going to do as far as housing is concerned, because otherwise, come 2047, I won't be around, very few people here won't be around, but our kids and our grandchildren certainly aren't going to thank us if we've not got to grips with some of these very, very important issues that we need to do about housing and the way that we heat our properties, etc. And if we just sort of fall back into oh no, this has come up from this side, therefore we'll knock it back, or it's come up from that side, therefore we'll knock it back to debate. It's about time we got a bit adult about this, and I'm disappointed this is not going to be accepted, but all we can then do is someone made Councillor Carter rather, made a number of sort of statements about what he intended to be doing. All I can say is we will be keeping a very close eye on what he's done and how it's done going forward. Thank you.
We'll now go to the vote on the motion about the Harlow Draft Town Plan. Those in favour? Those against? The motion fails.